About 250 years ago in Scotland there was a drove piper. He was an old man called Sandy, and every year he would follow the drovers down from Skye, and every year he would be paid well for his work. But this particular year there was not a lot of money to be made in the cattle. So the drove piper had no money, just a few pennies that the drove master had given him. And he found himself on the road, a narrow track road leading up into a mountain top. 'Twas Hogmanay and there was a storm brewing. He pulled his plaidie over his shoulders. It was so paper thin it did not protect him at all from the cold wind. The boots on his feet were so soleless that the ice touched his feet and he was cold. "Oh," he said, "it's a terrible place, Scotland, in the middle of the winter, and I wonder if I'll survive this night. But I have my pipes, and it's Hogmanay, and I'll first fit somebody." So he searched and scanned the hillside with his old eyes, and through the oncoming snow he saw a wee house way up in the distance. "Ha ha," he said, "there's a fine house, a wee croft. I'll go in there and I'll share the new year with the good people." Well, it was quite a distance to the wee croft, and as he made his way through the storm, he decided he would rest a little while under a beech hedge. And as he crept under there, he had a feeling, a foreboding, something that had stayed with him all his life on the road, sleeping under the stars, and he was not alone. So he called out, "Hello? Is there anyone here with me? For I'm an old man, and I'll do you no harm. I have no money. Not much point in robbing me." There was no answer, just the wind blowing, shrill and cold, and the snow coming forcefully down. He asked again. "Hello," he said, "is there anyone here?" But there was no answer. So he felt the ground on either side of him. He felt to his right, he felt to his left, but there was nothing there. As he investigated, he felt a boot. A boot was under the hedge with him. And he investigated again, and there were two boots. "I knew there was someone here," he said, "I knew it." So he called out, "Hello, who are you?" Still no answer. So he ran his hands up the side of the boots. The legs were frozen solid. They were cold like marble. This person had been here a long time and died. He was a corpse. "Oh, I am so sorry," he said, and Sandy made his way out from under that old open grave. And as he did so, he thought, they boots were good boots, far, far superior than the ones on my feet, and he's dead, he doesn't need them. So he took his knife and he hacked the frozen feet off at the ankles. He quickly rolled them up and he put them in his bag, and away he dashed into the snow-filled sky. In a little while he was standing outside the door of the Croft house. He looked through the window, and there was all manner of food, and there was the dram, and the fire was warm and glowing, sticks piled neatly on it. An old man warming himself at the fire, his wife busying herself in the kitchen. "Oh," he said, "what a rare sight." He shook off all the snow from his plaidie, and he made himself look respectable, and he took out his pipes and he put the chanter in his mouth and he knocked at the door. The door opened. There stood the old woman with her arms folded. "What are you doing here at my door at this time of the night? Away with you." "Oh, mistress," said he, "I'm an old piper. It's the Hogmanay. I'll pipe in the new year for you. I'll be your first fit. Indeed you will not. I don't want your type at my door. Now get away with you. Mrs, look at the snow. If I go, I'll die here, not far from your house. Surely you wouldn't want that. I don't care. Now away you go. Her husband looked over her shoulder and he looked Sandy up and down and he said, it's a wild night, wife. Let the man sleep in the barn. He'll come to no harm there. You heard my husband, away into the barn with you. And remember, we rise early in this house and you'd better be gone when we do. Oh, thank you, he said. His belly was empty. His body was cold, but he was being offered shelter, and beggars can't be choosers. So when he went to the barn, and there to keep him company was an old cow, munching away in her oats. Hello, cow, he said. How are you doing? The cow paid no heed to him, just kept munching, and he noticed the nice hot air coming out of her nostrils, ideal for defrosting frozen feet. So he took the boots out of his bag and he sat them in the trough, and the cow breathed over them, and he went to sleep. He rose early in the morning, remembering what the woman had said, and there in the trough the cow had done her business, for the feet were defrosted. So he counted them out and he took off his own boots and he tried on these new boots. They were perfect, fitted like a glove. He'd walk 100 miles and more in these grand boots. He thought as he pranced up and down. And as he did so, he thought on that poor man lying under the hedge without feet. I'll give him mine, he thought. So he took the defrosted feet and he put them into his boots. And as he was doing this, he heard the door in the house slamming. "Oh," he said, "here they come. I'd better hide. I should have been away." Well, he hid himself into some stalks of corn and he waited. And he could hear the footsteps, click, 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 clickety, click, 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 on the courtyard. He heard the footsteps coming into the barn. Then he heard no more. And then the most almighty scream rose in the air. The roof almost lifted up. Thought Sandy, what's up with her now? Her husband heard the scream and he come rushing to her defence. "Oh, my dear," he says, "what's wrong, what's wrong?" "Oh," she said, "oh, 'tis terrible." "Oh," he said, "I thought that piper had done some terrible damage to you." Him, he'll never bother anybody again. Sure, your cow's ate him, look." Well, the man looked in the trough and he saw the boots and he saw the defrosted feet, and he too thought that the cow had eaten the old piper. "Oh, you'll have to bury him." "But it's only a pair of feet. I don't care. Bury him anyway." Well, the husband took a shovel and he took the defrosted feet and Sandy's old boots down to the bottom of the garden and into the snow and into the ground. He dug a hole. And Sandy was thinking, I'm dead, am I? He'd had a bit enough of this man and woman. He took his pipes out of their box. They'd never been tuned in a while, and he put the chanter in his mouth. Well, he gave such a blow, it was like the banshee herself was screaming over the glen. That man and woman got such a fright that they ran so fast over that hill they've never been seen to this day. And Sandy has a bra house, all that he needs, and a cow that gives him plenty of milk and butter. The end.